one of the one of the concerns or ideas brought up on Reddit is, does The Good Place show that capitalism is the source of all our problems? And there's this image which I'll pass you in a second, and it shows the Good Place. Maybe I'll throw this up on the YouTube if you're watching it, but if you're just listening to this, it's a picture of The Good Place, and it has this kind of scale on the bottom, percentage scale on the bottom, and so it says The Good Place, 30%, oh cool, a show about the afterlife, 10%, what, oh my god, and then 60%, capitalism is the cause of all our problems. It stops us from growing as people, and only when we don't have these responsibilities we can become better by helping ourselves. So again, it's like The Good Place, it's saying it's a little bit, oh cool, show about the afterlife, a little bit, what, oh my god, and then mostly The Good Place is showing us about the downfalls and the pitfalls of capitalism.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on The Good Place exposing capitalism?
So for your listeners as well, we're like halfway through season 4 for you, so didn't finish it completely. And so I think this last season really goes more into that idea of capitalism, and that's something that we started seeing with their point system being flawed because there's just too many consequences that like you can't just go buy to the grocery store. Like you can't buy a tomato to make a salad for your old aunt or something, which would be a good action because these tomatoes are produced in a way that affects climate change and were picked out by underpaid, let's say, Mexican employees. And there's just like so much that goes on. So like that simple action of buying a tomato yields terrible consequences and end up being negative points, even though originally you had good intentions to make a salad for your poor old aunt. But so I definitely think that there's a lot of capitalism in that, and they're definitely shedding a light on all the consequences that our society has and how complicated our world has become. But I also think that this is more like what season 4 is kind of like unveiling. Well, like season 1, 2, 3 was a lot more, oh, cool, yeah, afterlife, and it's a fun show. And now they're kind of like still in a very fun and light way, uncovering some of that.
I think that The Good Place contradicts themselves with capitalism and may even expose themselves a little bit as a show with the way that they approach the idea.
Yeah.
So they begin to introduce the idea in season 4 that it is nearly impossible to make a good decision. Like you were saying, if you buy a tomato, it's being produced by people who are not getting paid a lot or maybe not even paid at all. There's sketchy things that happen in the production process. Workers aren't treated fairly. You think you're just buying a tomato and you're giving money towards supporting all these different systems and inequities in our society. With that, The Good Place exists only because of a loophole named Janet, which they get around all of the things being available in The Good Place because Janet can snap her fingers and create things out of nowhere. So it's like they get around they point out the flaws of capitalism without actually addressing them in The Good Place by having a being that can just snap her fingers and it appears. Whereas maybe if Janet wasn't in The Good Place, maybe they would make people in the bad place slaves and say, this is your punishment because you're worse than us.
That is the case already.
Maybe.
We don't know. But like, it's like between flattening penises, they're like, now you got to make some apples.
Yeah. And maybe they're like, people in the bad place are less than us. We'll make them slaves and have people build everything in The Good Place, which throughout history, many great things have been built on the back of slaves. And if you're building great things in The Good Place, why not punish people in the bad place to have them do that? So it's like, yes, they're trying to undermine capitalism and say how flawed this world is, but at the same time, the place that exists that is supposed to be good, and that they're learning to be friends with. They're learning to be friends with each other and also get along with the place that they're in as well. That only exists because no one has to make anything, or no, they don't have to deal with any realities. No one has to build a house. No one has to cut the grass.
Nobody has to pay rent.
No one has to pay rent. So of course, I think our world would be a lot more like The Good Place if I could just snap my fingers and build a house next to this apartment or have a Tesla outside. And so it's like, yes, I get what they're saying about capitalism, that the world has become so complicated and interconnected. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that's more a result of technology innovating and more lines crossing and everything, and more communication, that more people are affected by a single decision. I don't think it's as horrible as they depict in the show, making single decisions, like buying something from the grocery store. But at the same time, the only reason why The Good Place exists is because no one has to do anything. So
that's true.
Sure, the world could exist like that if everyone had a Janet, but it doesn't, and shit needs to get done. People have to make decisions. People have to build things. We want to make a profit, which means people go overseas to build everything, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think that's causing a lot of supply chain problems now in the US, is because we outsource everything to China and we don't actually build anything ourselves. So in a global pandemic, we've realized how fragile our economy actually is. So yeah, I think they go at capitalism, but they sort of undermine themselves with the idea of saying like, we got you, capitalism. But then the whole show is just Janet making things.
Yes, it's definitely like they're not offering any solution here because they just have a Janet. On the other hand, I would say that the world is definitely complicated with the advances of technologies, and there's definitely things that we can do to make it better. And there are people fighting for workers' rights. There are people that are fighting against climate change. And so there are ways to make those endpoints less complicated. There is ways for us to improve the state of our world so that buying a tomato doesn't involve like a chain reaction of terrible things behind it. I do agree that there is some amount of contradiction in their point system as well. Like, for instance, to earn positive points, you need to do positive action with the intent of doing something good. You should not do it with the intent of being rewarded for something. But on the other hand, a negative action doesn't have the same effect. So it should be the same thing. So like if you buy a tomato knowing that this tomato is not fair trade, that it came from underpaid workers, poorly treated workers, and you still buy that tomato, then maybe you get the negative points. But if you're well-intentioned, shouldn't you not be paying off the same debt? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's a contradiction there as well, where it's like extremely hard to get positive points because you need to be well-intentioned and do something well. Well, you basically lose point in every other occasion as well.
Do you think you should still lose points with a well-intentioned bad choice?
Well, it depends. That's what I mean is that, well, everything, it's like it's a whole debate thing. And that's something that in science we ask ourselves constantly, especially when you do like animal studies. It's like, and that's something that I've struggled with throughout my entire scientific career. And I've gotten to the point where I don't ever want to do animal experiments again. I do understand how valuable they are and that these are needed for us to find cures to the world's worst afflictions. But at the same time, you are sacrificing the lives of animals for that. But some people will say it's for